Hey everyone, so today we have some good and bad news, and to start off we'll talk about the bad news, because if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, you're following this Legacy Collection stuff, you probably already know. In most people's prediction videos for what games were left, most people were saying potentially Mythologies, Special Forces, and probably Gold. And unfortunately, it looks like Gold isn't going to make it. For those of you who are unaware, don't really know what I'm talking about, Gold is a sort of extension of Mortal Kombat 4, just added some new characters. And unfortunately, we're just getting the base version of MK4, we're not going to be getting Gold, which is unfortunate. I'm not entirely sure why. Could be some sort of technical stuff that we don't really understand, but unfortunately, it's not going to be in the collection. In my previous news video, I discussed that Special Forces and Mythologies were fully confirmed, seemingly by accident. It seems like it was playing on a TV and it wasn't meant to be playing a video. Maybe it was just meant to be a picture with the question mark, so then it was accidentally, started playing, and then it revealed that Special Forces and Mythologies were coming. So that's all the games now. We know all of them. For those of you who aren't aware, it's basically all of the older games with like some mini versions missing. So I think we have every version of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3. Then we have, I think, just arcade version, I might be wrong on that, on MK4. And then we have some Deadly Alliance Game Boy edition, and then we have Tournament edition, which is another like mini sort of game that obviously isn't a regular Deadly Alliance. I think we have MK Advance, of course we have Trilogy, they just announced WaveNet. So there's a lot of different versions of games. I know a lot of people were really wanting to get some later games like the PS2 games or even MK9. Unfortunately, that isn't going to be happening. I think most people sort of assumed that once we knew what games were included at the start. It's sort of, you wouldn't expect them to make Mortal Kombat 2 and then jump all the way to MK9, but still, if this sells well, who knows, they might start working on a PS2 collection. Maybe we could get a port of MK9 in the future, who knows. So definitely support this collection. Like, if you want to buy it, I would definitely recommend doing so, because you'll probably enjoy it, and who knows what it could lead to, right? So that's the bad news. Let's get that just out of the way. Gold isn't going to be a part of this. Could they add it later? I don't think so. I don't think there'll be any extra stuff added after release. Maybe there'll be some like balancing stuff, like fixing any issues. Obviously, like if there's bugs and some characters are busted, maybe they'll go through, fix that up. But I don't see them adding in stuff that NetherRealm would to a new release. I don't see them adding in new stages or characters or adding in full new games, like adding in MK Gold potentially later on. I don't see that happening. It'll probably just stay how it is now at its core, and then maybe again, bug fixes and stuff like that will occur, but that's probably about it. Now for some good news though. In the recent trailer, we saw a few things, for instance, like the menus where you can see all the games and all the different versions and stuff like that. We have a timeline now, and we can look at videos like art pieces, interviews, all that, interesting stuff, right? And then we can also see things that weren't in the original game, like fatality practice and stage select. You can do local one-on-one fights now against the AI or a friend or something like that. You have practice now, so you can practice before going online, or maybe you just want to practice a certain character for an hour or 30 minutes, however long, and then hop into an arcade tower and practice there. There's a lot of different options now that make the game feel a lot more fun and a bit more fair, because the older versions, you sort of just had to jump in, so you'd get your ass beat because you don't know how to do the special moves. Now, I don't actually know for a fact if this is the case, but I believe that move lists are going to be included here. Once again, that might be wrong. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but I feel like there probably will be character move lists with obviously simpler inputs now, because most people will be playing on a PlayStation, Xbox controller, so it's going to be a lot easier now to do combos and special moves as your favorite characters, which is awesome. But for me, that's probably the best thing, but I reckon there's something else that's maybe a tad better, and it seems like they are including character bios. You can pick basically any character from any of these games and look at a bio. Now, I believe the bio is the same across all games because it's the same character, but still you can view their model, read about their character, and it's available for every character, I believe, which is really cool. It feels like they're adding in a lot of stuff outside of just the game. Like, we're getting a bunch of mini games, but then we're also getting all this information about the creation of them. We're getting to see different, bits of art, like concept art, interviews, stuff we've never seen before. Of course, WaveNet just got announced as well as the last game, which for those of you who don't know, it's a really old version of MK3 that I believe was tested in Chicago and I believe San Francisco, and I think there was only 2 machines, obviously one in each, and it sort of feels like this is a super rare version, and I think most people sort of just assumed it was scrapped, got rid of, because no one really knows about it. Like, a bunch of MK fans didn't even know what it was when it was released, in terms of this collection, when it was announced. And it's quite exciting that we're going to get this version, because who knows how it's going to play. Most people on Earth have never touched this before, so it's going to be quite exciting. But either way, that's about it for today's video, everyone. That is basically everything for the Legacy Collection. Now we know everything. It specifically said in the video, no more secrets or something like that, so we know everything now, and the only thing left to reveal from Digital Eclipse, I believe, is just the release date. We still don't know 100%, so would love to hear about that, and if we do, I'll make a video or short about it, depends. But either way, hope you all found this helpful or interesting. Consider subscribing for more Mortal Kombat videos, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.